Beatles are very talented musicians, but personally we have different styles of music. We really like classical music, gospel music, and that's our favorite.
When your older girls are married off, who will take on the responsibility?
My mom is always good about rotating jurisdictions so that when one person leaves, we miss not having them around, but we can all come together and still accomplish the same goals.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Friday, November 5th. We have spent so much time this week going through court records for the Duggars, Josh Duggar's case, and I could do like 4 more right now. But I thought I'd do an update on Jessa, who has an announcement, sort of, kind of, and an update on John and Abbie. I'm going to be honest, you guys, with this case, it's been intense. The coverage of this case has been intense. It's been hard for me to step outside of what is happening on the legal side to actually remember that there's people in the family that have lives outside of this case. But it's also opened a Pandora's box where so many people are starting to come forward and share their stories and sort of their testimonies of what they know about the Duggars. And it's been overwhelming, and sometimes it's hard when you're getting really tough, difficult stories and you're hearing really dark things about people to like focus on the small things. But I also realize that focusing on the small things can sometimes bring us happiness and joy. And so maybe, just maybe, we can try to hope, with all hope, that there might be some freedom happening with some of these kids. I just don't really know. There's a lot of yuckiness with Josh's story, but Jessa recently had a baby girl, Fern. And she had done a series of videos on her YouTube where with Fern's birth, and she really did very well with those videos. They performed amazing. She made a ton of money, I hope. I hope that Jim Bob's crummy little hands are not on that money. You know, I told you a couple weeks ago that one of my sources told me that Ben was letting people know that they have been able to scrape by with Jessa's YouTube and Instagram, and that's really been helping subsidize their income right now since the show has been gone. And there was, you know, Ben is now working as a pastor and he's not as involved at the Duggars' home, which has resulted in Jessa sort of reevaluate some of her own priorities. She's been wearing jeans, she's been sort of doing more of her own thing, but she's also very still connected to her family. So in a new video on her YouTube, one of the biggest questions for everyone is, aren't you going to get a new house, Jessa? You have a 2-bedroom home, which is about 900 square feet. You've got 4 kids. How is it that you haven't been bursting out of the seams of this house? She did a video last year where she talked about how the house was perfect and she loved it and she loved her tiny little house. But practically speaking, you have to at some point sort of realize you've outstayed your welcome at a house when you don't have space for all your kiddos, right? So in a video that she uploaded a couple days ago, she took the kids to go get some plants because Jessa loves her plants. And at the very end of it, she brought the plants in and was talking about how she recognizes that, you know, if she's going to put the house on the market someday and get a new house, she might not be able to buy as many plants. Like they might have to clean some of the plants out. And then at the very end, this is what she said.
Until we can move and get a bigger house. Which, another news break, will not be too far off.
So she said, breaking, we're going to be getting a house sooner than I thought. So I don't know what this means. I did a search of property records and I have not seen that she and Ben have purchased anything. They may have put an offer in on something. I also didn't notice any property transfers from any of the companies that Jim Bob is involved in. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be buying a house completely and separately, independently of that. And I also noticed that I don't believe her house is on the market right now. So one thing I have wondered about her house with the tiny house is that this is a house that's been in the Duggar family for years. The house that she's living in actually used to be a rental for Mary Duggar. And Mary owned the house, and then Josh and Anna actually lived in that house when they first got married. And then when Jessa and Ben got married, that home was given to her by her dad. Something I've noticed over time is that a lot of times when the kids get these houses and they're put on the deeds of these homes, sometimes they end up being flipped back to their dad. So I don't know if when they decide to move out, if they maybe give the house back to their dad. I'm not sure, or if they keep the home in their name and they rent it out. I don't really, totally unclear at this point. The house has no mortgage on it. She owns it free and clear, so she wouldn't have to sell her house if she was going to be moving into a new home. So Jessa and Ben are finally getting a new house. And actually, this was something that my sources told me a couple weeks ago, that Ben had told some friends that they were looking to move. So there's that. Okay, so Ben and Jessa are finally getting a new house, maybe eventually, sort of. I don't know where they're going to be moving to, and as soon as I can find any more information, I'll let you know. Currently, I was not able to find any property records or any purchases by Ben and Jessa at this point. Okay, moving on. There is John and Abbie. Recently, John and Abbie celebrated their, I don't even know how many wedding anniversaries, but they recently celebrated their anniversary. And their reel, which they posted on Instagram, contained a song by Lindsey Buckingham and Christine McVie. Okay, so I want to just calm down here for a second. There's a lot of stuff happening on social media, and I cannot tell if we are doing a lot of deflection or if this is just people moving on with their lives. Jim Bob is a master manipulator of social media, and there's been a ton of really bad press with Josh lately, and so it's not lost on me that so many of them who have been absolutely silent for months are suddenly posting as new and more bad press is released by the trial, almost to drown out some of the bad press with happy press, right? So a bunch of the kids have been posting again, so I'm always sort of like cautious about that, but obviously this to me was something worth talking about because Christine McVie and Lindsey Buckingham are actually from the band Fleetwood Mac. If you're a huge 70s rock lover like I am, Fleetwood Mac is a rock band that was huge in the 70s and 80s, and Lindsey and Christine were in that band, and then they did a solo album at one point in time together, or like a duet album together, and their song was featured in their reel. So why is this such a big deal? Okay, so I have to talk to you about the Institute in Basic Life Principles. Bill Gothard absolutely hates rock music. I don't know what it is about rock music, but he hates rock music. And he has books in his store called How to Conquer the Addiction of Rock Music. And he also has a book called The Weapons of Truth, Rock Music in the IBLP store. And he says this in one of the books. Rock music is one of the greatest tools Satan uses to influence your soul, your mind, will, and emotions. The message with unclean rock music is then used by Satan to build strongholds, lies in your life, which decrease the capacity of your soul to respond to God and to follow his ways. Learn how to gain freedom from the stronghold of rock music. Can you imagine music having that much control in your life? Like literally rock music is like a vehicle of Satan. Could you seriously imagine that, like you believing that? There's another one that says how to conquer the addiction of rock music. And that description says, when 2,000 young people were asked, can rock music be addictive? 98% said yes. Many said that their addiction to rock music was stronger than addiction to crack or cocaine. Whoa, that's like, I'd love to see the actual study in a peer-reviewed journal on, MedPub Gothard. Anyways, the dangers of rock beat and contemporary Christian music are detailed in this 3-publication set. The purpose of this series of booklets is to reveal the motivation of the heart, giving a basis with which to tear down its strongholds. They are designed also to train the reader on how to help others escape the bondage of inferiority, bitterness, and addiction to rock music. Y'all, rock music is serious. It's a serious problem. And if you grow up Duggar and you live in the Gothardite world, you are told from a very young age that listening to rock music is like having Satan put a stranglehold on your life, and you are basically hanging out with the devil, and it's akin to witchcraft. So the fact that they've chosen a rock music song for this reel had me scratching my head. I was like, whoa, Satan's over in John and Abbie's house. What's going on here? And then I thought, okay, is this like a strategic move of the Duggars trying to look more normal? Or are John and Abbie trying to just say, like, we're going to do our own thing now. We're going to be a little bit more independent. Jim Bob's so busy over there with Josh that he's not really paying attention to what we're doing on Instagram. I don't really know where the kids stand. And that's the problem, is because there's so much under Jim Bob's control, and John David works with Jim Bob, and John Dave is so like invested with Jim Bob in so many different directions and so many different ways that I don't know. Like, it's part of me is like, okay, John and Abbie were supposed to be at the camp, and I really don't know if they actually went to the camp. I didn't see any photographs of them at the camp. John and Abbie have kind of been doing things their own way to a degree. Abbie did have a job before John, but I want to remind you, she doesn't have a job now, and they're still like kind of in the cult at this point. So I don't know if this is them sort of taking a step out into normalcy. I don't know if Jim Bob's doing this so they appear more normal and less fringe on the heels of a trial, or if it's literally just they like the song. If they like the song and they're breaking free of this idea that rock music is not witchcraft and not Satan, I say, here's to baby steps. Great job. Jim Bob still does not approve of rock music, still does not approve of country music, still does not approve of music outside of hymns. And so I would love to know what his thoughts are on this, or if he's just like so, again, distracted by what's going on with the kids that he can't pay attention. I'm not sure. But tell me what your thoughts are about Jessa's getting a new house and John and Abbie are breaking rules by listening to rock music. Is this all to distract you from what's going on with Josh? Or is it that they're starting to move on and move forward? Is Jim Bob still controlling the public image even without the show? Or now without the show, are they offered a little bit more freedom in their lives? These are all the questions that we want to know and we're still waiting on answers for. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.